Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of Behind the Camera with AndyGames. This week, our guest is none other than Sir T. Sir T, how are you doing? Welcome to Behind the Camera.
We're doing well over here. We're doing well. It's hot, as I was saying a second ago. But we're definitely making it. Happy to be here, man.
Oh, I'm glad to have you on. Glad to have you on. But especially as you say, it is hot. I'm sure. Hopefully you're surviving the hot weather. Where you are.
I went golfing today
You're in golf.
in this
Oh,
heat, and I was miserable.
yeah. That would kind of do it. Sometimes you think it's like the right weather for it, but then obviously I think there can be a little bit too hot at the same time. But so T, the whole premise of this podcast is just like a wee interview, just so we can all get to know you a little bit better. So we've got my community, your community. Just kind of intertwine these things, get to know. Like it's like the name of the podcast, Behind the Camera, getting to know the person behind the camera. Yeah. But first of all, T. So, how did Sir T become Sir T? Like, what's your history with gaming and what got you into streaming and all that?
Okay, well, first off, I mean, I've been gaming since four. Always had a desire. It turned into young kid just doing whatever young kids do by themselves, just playing games.
Mhm.
Go outside, hated it. It was hot, sticky, it's cold, sticky. Hated it. Came back inside and played games. Um, Going to the future, I actually tried to stream two other times before I am where I'm at now,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was actually solely on Twitch, which is partially why I have my. I always talk smack about Twitch, not out of actual hate, but just in general.
I get it.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes if it doesn't just work out, first off, it's kind of just like, you know what? Fuck Twitch. I'm going
yeah,
somewhere better.
yeah. So the first time I streamed to myself, I never had a single viewer pop into my stream at all.
Hmm.
And that lasted for I don't know, a month. I was trying it every single day for a month, not a single viewer, so I stopped. Um, Fast forward about a year and a half from there, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it was me. I'll try a different game. Did the same thing, just to nobody. And then music.ily came out, which is TikTok.
Oh, okay.
I was actually one of the first people on TikTok. And I had some, incredibly uh, rare videos, I'll say, lightly, to the point where when I decided I wanted to stream on TikTok, I had to go through and just kind of wipe most of my account because I'm like, I don't really want these things to get out.
Was it some questionable content we're talking about,
It
or
was absolutely questionable content that I find funny because I have a unique sense of humor
you do
and
realize
I find things funny.
now that you've let that out, right? I'm gonna have to ask about that. Like,
Um,
is there any archive footage of
there's
this
not,
content?
not
Is
to
this
my knowledge.
being wiped off the face of the earth altogether?
I tried my best to wipe it off completely. And I tell people a decent amount, like, if there's some way that you can find it, I will embrace every bit of it.
Fair, fair. Go. So, okay, can you give us like a little brief outline as to
Oh, uh, not really.
no, no, fair,
Not
fair.
in pleasant company, I guess.
Okay. Oh, okay. So let's say then you can safely say that it's like completely different to the sort of content that you're putting out now. Then.
Absolutely polar opposite because I keep my stuff fairly clean.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't ever think it was doing anything. I just thought it was a weird app that popped up that people's dancing in, Like
Yeah.
I heard some questionable tunes. I'm like, that's really funny. I'm going to like voice over it. And yeah, no. Said some things I probably shouldn't have said and
Hmm.
posted them publicly. The whole works.
Of course, of course. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably, especially people like our age, probably did do that because when we were younger, it was a completely different world, wasn't it? It was kind of just
Oh yeah.
humor was sort of a lot less. It was a lot more desensitized in ways that it shouldn't have been, of course.
Mhm.
And then of course, and then when you get like a platform, you kind of have to be like, okay, this content has to be wiped off the face of the earth. We need to have like, it needs to be relevant and sort of appropriate for the platform that I'm sort of streaming on, kind of thing.
Well, you also have to carry yourself as a. I mean, I go into everything looking at, hey, if something happens and I just randomly pop off, I almost need to be professional as it comes off to an extent.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want to ever ruin something for the future on something that past me did, you know?
Yeah, of course, because like that's the sort of like the saddening thing about like parts of the internet is that like as soon as somebody starts to do well, there's always somebody who will delve into somebody else's like TikTok, Instagram history and just find something in essence cancelable, like, and it's just a shame.
Yeah.
Like it's like almost like, people don't want to see other people doing well, you know?
Mm-hmm. Or being themselves, even.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started streaming then when TikTok was music.ily, right?
I
Or
started
music.ly.
content
You started
creating.
content creating. Okay.
So the streaming didn't come along until way later after that. I think my first video of music.ily was 2017.
Oh wow, okay.
And yeah, and I started consistently making videos. Granted, they wasn't gaming related and, they
Hmm.
wasn't great videos by any means. But um, fast forward a little bit. I deleted music.ily and a year or so went past and I didn't realize it had a name change and it came back to TikTok. And I'm like, okay, well, this is developed somewhere. Like, that's really cool. Let me check it out. So I started diving through some things, and I found T-Noom, and he was streaming Mario 64. And I'm like, this is really cool. I've never seen a speedrunner, like, ever. And I'm like, what is doing? Listen, that's super simple. It's super simple. It's just speedrunning. I'm watching it. I'm like, I can do this. So I downloaded Project 64, the old version, not the non-lag version.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here and try it. The very first trick I seen was sky jump. And I sat there for 600, almost 700 attempts
Wow.
before I reached out to Beats, actually. I'm like, listen, like, I really want to hit this. It's not as easy as I thought, and I need to know how you do it. And I actually screen recorded him doing it, and I proceeded to hit it. I'm like, okay, I hit it for my first 16 star. Didn't know the route, didn't know anything, didn't know sky jump wasn't even involved with 16 star.
uh
And
that's very much going in the deep end, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
that's like, I mean, it's not the most advanced trick, but as the first trick to learn, it's kind of like,
hmm
it's getting, that's getting stuck in, man.
yeah, and I mean it's stuck as of right now. It's still my favorite trick. I don't know what it is about it. It's probably a nostalgic thing at this point too,
Yeah, for sure.
but it got me started into it. And then so you fast forward a little bit, and I didn't have the follower count for TikTok,
Hmm.
so I got on. I think it was Lula.tv, which is a
Yes.
side third-party website that essentially gives you a fake streaming key.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I started on that, and I had one single viewer, just one, for about 3 weeks, and that was Crowley. Crowley showed up and just hung out with me,
Awesome.
and you move forward from that. Diffraction found me, got me on TikTok Live Studios, and I just kind of zoomed.
That's amazing. That's amazing because I do remember it's funny you mentioned about like, your old content featuring like voiceovers and stuff
Mhm.
because the very first video I saw from your account when you started was you doing Bowser in the Fire Sea in Mario 64 and you had no audio, so it was just you in the background going wahoo yahoo
Yeah.
wah wahoo
Made all the
yahoo.
background sounds, the music, the everything.
It was just like the most like bootleg a cappella thing, but it was just fucking
I
phenomenal.
put so much time and effort
It
into
was
that.
absolutely incredible, and I was just like, and that was like around the time that like I'd started getting into like all that as well. Like I think it would have been maybe around like a year ago, maybe just a little bit more, a little bit less than a year ago. I remember it was around the same time. I believe we started like streaming at the same time, me on Twitch, you on TikTok, and
Yeah.
that was the first thing that I ever saw. And I think maybe I'd seen you in like Lloyd's chat and Logan's chat, and I was just like, I saw that video, and I was like, that's an immediate follow from me. Like that is just like that is just next level. Like like for anybody watching or listening, definitely try and find that video on Sir T's TikTok. It is just like it's just brilliant. Just the innovation behind it. It's just brilliant. Like
It's down there a little while, but yeah, it's still
yeah,
on there.
yeah. It was a good while ago, but 100%. Like yeah, that was because that was like and but it's been like even since then the kind of like the development that you've had from there. So like obviously like whenever you started out like in more recently like in the last year you went solely from like speedrunning Mario 64 like learning all the different categories. And I think like last year specifically Mario 64 was like the hot topic. Like there was like so many people were coming out of the woodwork and starting to stream Mario 64. Like it was a huge year for it, I think.
Hmm.
Like obviously like I did as well. You, Lloyd, Logan as well, and like even the Newman brothers too. Like they were around the same time. And obviously so many other people. There's too many to actually mention. You know,
Oh
so
wow.
obviously starting out that was more or less like what you had started with was just solely speedrun, at least from what I seen.
Mhm.
But obviously in more recent times you've gone from that to more variety, more content creation, things like that. Like I've seen that in terms of your content you're like pushing the boat out a little bit, like with a lot of different things. So what was the inspiration then to move on from just solely speedrunning and getting into like other games and like essentially stepping out of your comfort zone, going into other things, doing things that you wanted to do? And did you find it like a struggle to initially like get into?
So that's actually a kind of an odd question here, only because I was never intending on being a Mario speedrunner.
Yeah.
Like anytime that I started streaming beforehand, I'm like, Mario is the farthest thing out of my brain. And even when I started streaming and speedrunning, I'm like, this is cool, but it's not the only thing I'm gonna do. But
Yeah.
my personality is just 1000% or 0%.
Mm-hmm.
And I find something I enjoy and I just go head deep into it and just almost borderline obsess over things.
Yeah.
Um, so I found a lot of enjoyment out of playing Mario and learning the new strats and the getting times like I think I was like a week into speedrunning and I challenged Lloyd and I told him like, listen, you have a sub 20. I want a sub 20. If I don't get a sub 20 in 7 days, I'm gonna give you $20. And it was all a self-proclaimed bet.
Yeah.
Obviously I didn't hit that because I was a week in. I didn't know what kind of thing sub 20 was. It just seemed like it's achievable. But I did little things like that to a bunch of different streamers
Yeah.
and just trying to help myself grow. And but it was never the intent to solely be on that. Then I moved forward in trying to branch out a little bit because I was getting very, very overwhelmed with Mario.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and I had a single stream where I had like 2 viewers. And going from, I don't know, I think my peak at that time was like 100 people, 120 people in my stream to 2 people kind of hit my
Yeah.
mentality really
Oh,
hard. I'm
for
like,
sure.
okay, well, these people are only here for Mario. They're not here to watch me. They're not here to hang out with me. They just want to see some Mario. So that kind of hit the mentality a little hard, and I took a small break from there. And from that point, I kind of had a little epiphany. I'm like, you know what? Like, why would I care? Why
Yeah.
would I care? Because it's almost like TV. If I don't like a show that I'm watching, or I walk in my living room and it's playing, I'm going to turn it. So why would I take it personally if somebody wants to go do something else and they're not watching a game? I'm not streaming a game that they want to see.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I will just I'll put those cares aside and I'm just gonna do me. I'm gonna have fun with it and I'll make some really cool clips and some videos aside of that and people are gonna see that and you know what? You wasn't here, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's like a brilliant mentality to have with it, because like I think, because of Mario 64 being like having the community it does, and I mean that in like the most positive way, but like everybody is like so into it and they're all like so good at it as well, right?
Mhm.
And it is like, it is like such an immersive thing, like, as you kind of as you touched on before, like, there's so much to learn of it, so many more improvements, optimizations, things like that, right? So of course you do get sucked into it, and of course, like, when you're starting out streaming, sometimes it can be kind of like, it can be easy for that, you get to like sucked into that wormhole and get sort of like niched into that category of streamer. So then, as you say, people do just are there for, just do watch you for Mario, watch this and the other. But then obviously, more recently I've seen you doing like Twitch only streams for like horror games, and I know you did Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
I enjoyed watching Kingdom Hearts, like, because like I think what made that like different and more engaging was the fact that you were able to like actually talk about the game, and essentially like the lore behind it, and like you knew the game going in, and it was just like,
Mhm.
and like I remember seeing like you playing it, and like, the viewership was like still pretty good, and like I know a lot of that does come with the fact that you have built like your community as well, like, you have your Discord,
Sure.
your Discord is like, that does go off like it is, like, and I think you've done absolutely like, fantastic with that. So like fair play for that, because I know you are back to Mario as well. Do you have
Mhm.
anything like, other games sort of lined up that you might want to stream, or is it more just the sort of as and when you kind of see fit?
So I started to here very recently. I started to branch out and experiment on the YouTube life as well. I
Oh,
decided,
okay.
you know, I'm going to start using my Twitch for non-Mario content.
Hmm.
That way, anytime somebody sees my Twitch pop up and say he's live, he's not on Mario. You already know. You ain't got to come in and say, "Hey, no Mario today," or like 600 people come in and say, "Hey, why are you not playing Mario?" You already know because I'm on
Yeah.
Twitch. And Twitch is also really good for recordings. So I started experimenting a little bit on the YouTube live. Um, just started going through Poppy's Playtime, which is a low key horror game. It was made by like 10 people or so, and it's really good, really good. And I started throwing into Let's Plays, started doing a decent edit, throw it on YouTube, and see how it's going. Um, so I'm continually moving forward with that. I'm not solely into Mario still.
Yeah.
Even just what is today, Sunday. Even the night before last, I was playing Amnesia: The Bunker, which
Mm.
is an awesome game, by the way. Um, but what's helped me in that scenario is I've got a schedule now, and 3 days a week I'm playing Mario. Okay, that's fine. At some point in those 3 days, I'm playing Mario. Now, whether I switch over to Twitch and dive into Poppy's Playhouse or Amnesia or Kingdom Hearts or whatever I'm playing at the time, that's fine as long as I get a little bit of content in there from Mario
Yeah,
because
of course.
everybody's seeming like they're set onto my schedule as well now too. So, which is awesome because you're not only just getting your Mario content, you're also getting tastes of other enjoyments that I have as well. Like I'm not sure if anybody can see the stuff behind me too much, but like I've got Kingdom Hearts stuff there. I got a Shrine of Zelda. Like I love things. I love different kinds of games around. Mm, I could never just solely be Mario as much as people want me to be. That's not me, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously with streaming, you have to be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like you can't just sort of do what other people want you to or expect you to. Obviously, like within reason. If you're ever like stuck for anything, like what do people want to see, the sort of thing. But then, even still, the reason behind why people stream is because you know we want to do it like for ourselves because it's enjoyment. It's like an outlet. It's you want to share your hobbies and passions with other people who are like minded in terms of that.
Absolutely. And touching on that a little bit, when I first started streaming, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth now.
No, 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 no. Please
Um,
do.
I the original intent behind the very first time of me streaming, and even still to this day, was I had some crippling social anxiety. Like I could not speak to new people at all,
Yeah.
and it was starting to affect my work life and my personal life. And like I would shelter myself inside and do nothing. Um, so that was the original intent behind it. And on that note, gotten a lot better because not only am I speaking with people, granted they're behind a screen, it's all in text form, but I'm speaking about things that I enjoy while I'm speaking to people.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone with Logan, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago or something. And I brought that up to him. I'm like, look at me now. Like, I'm talking to somebody from freaking Australia with no problem.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like, I think it does show that, you know, because I 100% do, 100% do understand, where you're coming from with that. And like, obviously, like, even when you're like sitting in this setting, like I'm alone in my room right now, you likewise, same with yourself.
Yeah, oh,
It's
yeah.
like, but we're still engaging with like people from across the world with each other, and like get it. It's like when you're behind the camera, you do get to like really be yourself and just kind of you are just like showing your passion and sharing that with essentially the world, like, or whoever wants to see it, like. And
Mhm.
like it is just like a beautiful thing because like it really can be like a massive personal driver for people and get people out of their comfort zones. And it's like I look back to when I was like 18, maybe 18 younger, we'll say. And like a few people who I went to school with had gotten into like like streaming Call of Duty and stuff. And I was one of those people who was of the opinion,
Ugh.
it's like, why the fuck would you want to watch somebody play a video game? Why not just play the video game yourself? And obviously, it takes to actually getting into it and watching somebody do it to then, actually understand. And then, in turn, when you actually get into it yourself and you start streaming, then you realize it's like, wow, this is like one of the most liberating things I feel like I could actually do. It's actually insane. Like it's and I'm honestly like I'm so glad to hear that the problems that you had before are much better, and you're absolutely thriving now. Like it's incredible to see because nobody should really go through all that stuff, especially when it starts to affect your personal life. And
Yeah.
it's the sort of thing like um, no, it's just a horrible thing. It's just such a horrible thing. But it's good that you've bounced back from that and you find like your passion and something that helps you in both this level on a personal level and in your work life too. Like that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I've gotten more fulfillment out of streaming than I've gotten out of anything out of my entire life.
Hmm.
And it's an odd thing to say because I don't know most of these people. I mean, I start to know them over time, but like even the randos coming in like, hey, how's
Yeah,
your day? You know how often I ask that outside of streaming? None.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Like that's again, that's another like beautiful thing about it because you could be having the shittiest day ever, you know like and this is in all aspects of life. You could
mhm.
go on stream, be like, oh, this will make me feel better, and you sit there to two viewers and one of them is one of your like is your Stream Elements bot or something. You're kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake. you know and then you get some random come in and be like, how are you doing, and then start having a chat, and even if they're there for 5 minutes or 5 hours, it's still, well, that was nice, somebody actually cared. It's
Mhm.
such a
Somebody enjoyed what I'm trying to do right now.
yeah,
And that's what it's all about, really.
even if it was fleeting, it is just such a nice little thing that, that people do. Like, and it's, you know, I do understand the fulfillment of it. Like, it does feel like, I think as well, because no, obviously, like with streaming, it there is like somewhat of a snowball effect, like
Mhm.
because everybody has their reasons why they get into it. So like, for example, you saw T Noom with doing Mario, and that's what got you into Mario and streaming that. I was the same with Logan, and then from that, we build our own communities, right? And it
Like a
is,
spider web.
yeah, exactly, like a spider web, that's exactly what it is. And there's always that kind of like mutual mutual love of like this sort of what we do that everybody
Mhm.
shares, and it's just such a it's just phenomenal. Like um all all from like a silly mustachioed man with a red hat.
Yeah. I remember there was one time, and well, I say one time, but a string of times that when I was on Lula.tv,
Hmm.
and I'd have the one viewer, and that would be intermittent. I'm a new streamer, whatever. That's okay. I understand. But MC actually was coming in fairly frequently, and just, hey, how you doing? I like to support small streamers. Like, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna give you some likes, I'm gonna give you some comments. She wouldn't stay forever, and that was fine. But she was consistent.
Yeah.
Consistently hops in just to give a little bit of support.
Yeah. No,
And if had there not been those two people at the beginning of my streams, I wouldn't have continued doing it.
for
I
sure.
really truly wouldn't have, because like there's nothing more um I I don't want to say degrading, but I kind of want to say degrading as being a streamer and streaming to zero people that want to watch you and want to that enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. Like, yeah, that's it. Like, it's like I say, even if it is fleeting, the consistency, and you get that like on TikTok as well. Like people coming in, they will fire a heart me over, and they'll just shoot the shit for 5 minutes, and then they'll get on with their day. But it's just someone came over. It's like, oh, you saw I was live. Let's go say hello, and it's just such a lovely thing, and like, yeah, no, I never knew that about your own journey. Like, and that's
Yeah.
amazing, and look how know look how much that small little thing really meant and allowed you to kind of like build what you have today. Like,
The
that's
butterfly effect.
absolutely, that is incredible. So shout out
There
to
was a
MC
there
for
was a
that. Shout
saying.
out to MC,
Yeah.
because if it wasn't for you, this man would not be sitting here getting interviewed by me today.
Yeah.
So you know what? Thank you. And also, like, MC, she always tells me to run up, so that's
Run up.
yeah, no, that's amazing. So moving on then. So obviously, you're a very busy man. You have a family, married, and you work full time, and obviously, you've recently moved house. Which is
Mhm.
all that's a huge thing, and you alluded to the fact that you have like a more of a schedule now in terms of your streaming. But
Oh yeah.
take into consideration like everything going on in your life and your streaming. How do you then find the balance? Especially keeping the streaming regular. Like how do you like keep the balance whilst avoiding like any kind of burnout?
It's hard. It's extremely hard, especially recently with the move and everything. Um, I have changed my schedule multiple times, just trying to find something that works for me. And I'm sure I'll change it 1,000 more times. It's life is ever changing,
Yeah,
and work is ever changing. I work a fairly demanding job as far as schedule is concerned. I might be on day shift now. I might be on night shift for the next 6 months. I might be out of town for 2.5 months where I'm not available into a computer at all. Um, so that's really the hardest portion, because not only is my streaming schedule not super consistent, my schedule in life
yeah,
isn't super consistent. There's a lot of different um, pieces there that have to specifically align each time for me to be able to keep a schedule. But I don't want to make it sound like it's actually impossible by any means, because I've been keeping to it fairly simply. But I feel like changing a schedule is okay as long as you're not overdoing it. You know, like
Yeah.
if I put out a schedule saying, okay, guys, I'm gonna stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then come Monday say, you know what, guys, I'm actually gonna stream on Tuesday and Thursday, and then Tuesday comes around, like, you know what, let's go with the weekend instead. You know, that becomes a little much, and then nobody wants to keep up with that crap. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
but if
Yeah.
I want to stay consistent to a point where I'm able to have some sort of schedule, the schedule almost has to be as fluid as my life is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's the thing, because it is, like it can be hard to sort of have that regular schedule and stick to it because, like, when especially when you work full time, and you have a family and things. Like, obviously I can't speak for having, like, like a family, because I don't yet. I mean, I have a fiance, and it's kind of, there is that flexibility with that, which
That's a
is
family
nice.
though.
It is a
Sometimes
family,
that's
of
just as
course, but I
demanding.
don't have, no, my fiance is good to me, you know what I mean. Big reason why I can do this, which is nice. I think mainly it comes from work, but obviously, you have a little one as well, which is, I
Yeah.
think that's a whole different kettle of fish. Um, because obviously you have to, at the same time you have to be a dad, you have to, be a husband, and then go to work too, which is,
Hmm.
so it's like, it's fair that but, like, as long as you know when to step away whenever you have to, whenever you just, it's,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because I think at the minute that you stop enjoying it, that's the minute that you need to just kind of, because nobody else will
Exact.
enjoy it. It's the same way, like you say, with the schedules. Nobody wants to keep up with, like, a sort of ever changing thing, unless it's a sort of, like, you know, for X number of weeks, this is going to be my schedule. For,
Right.
X number of weeks, this will be it. It's it is like a bit of a demanding thing, because, like, we all do this part time. We all have our own lives. Everybody has their own story, like, that nobody really knows about, that nobody sees whenever they're, like, watching, on TikTok or Twitch or something, like,
Hmm.
and, like,
They
what
never
I
see
sorry.
the story behind the camera.
Behind the camera,
Uh,
exactly. Hey, see, this is the exactly, yeah. That is the whole, that is, like, the whole point of this podcast as well. Is, like, to get to know people, like, like, I've learned, like, in the 2 episodes I've done of this, like, I've learned so much about you. I've learned so much about Dark Voice, and, just all, it's amazing, and it's just like getting to know all these different people a lot better. What I do find as well, speaking of family as well, your wife has gotten into um, going live as well, which I think is incredible, especially because, like, she's found a really, really cool niche with what she does, like
yeah, very unique.
her crocheting things, and, like, her projects have been incredible. Like, I mean, I know you're aware that, like, that I commissioned a piece for her, and,
Hmm.
I um asked if she could crochet a miniature schnauzer, which was, like, it was very, very similar to my fiance's old, like, childhood dog. And oh my god, if you only you'd seen the tears that came from her when she saw it, like, and, like, it's an absolute, it's beautiful piece. And, like, I know all the stuff that she does, and, like, even the community that she has built. So, I've seen her Discord, and the fact that, like, the people all post in their own works. I think it's incredible. Like, I absolutely, you know, and so, okay, in regards to that, were you somewhat of an inspiration for Queen T getting involved in streaming?
She's been wanting to start up a business doing her crocheting for years now.
Hmm.
But she didn't know how to do it. She thought that was having to buy a buy a business, buy a house
Yeah.
or a building and actually have a legit business. Um, and then I started going live, and I actually set up my merch store. And I think that gave her the idea for the whole scenario there. And it all started with she was crocheting, and I was having a sub giveaway, and she had mentioned just she was used to sit like right behind my monitor while I was streaming in my old house. And she's working out, she finishes like, hey, look, do you want to give this away in your sub giveaway? I'm like, sure. And I can't even remember what it was. I know Crowley won it. Oh, it was Mario. It was a full
Oh
scale
yes,
Mario.
actually remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So we did that, and everybody seemed like they really liked it. And she's like, well, maybe I'll try to do something with this then.
Mm.
And it kind of took off from there. She's still in her growing stages, but she's very consistent, and she is doing very well.
Yeah.
And
No.
she's enjoying herself, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Exactly. Like and like I say, the stuff that she makes is just it's so professional and just brilliant. And the fact that as well that you know her lives consist of her just crocheting away and shooting the shit with everybody coming in like
Mm-hmm.
that's like what more could you want? Like it's such like a warm, welcoming environment, and like that's I think it's just a fantastic sort of niche. Like just like the creativity and like something artistic like that. Like it's just brilliant.
She's always been a social butterfly, just in general. And I don't know how much she would be okay with me saying, but ever since some things happened there, and she stopped being able to get as much human interaction,
Mm,
and she's a stay-at-home wife and all that. Um, so the streaming thing has helped her mentally
yeah,
more than anything.
that's good.
Just being able to talk to people because it's her favorite thing to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's that's what's sort of great about streaming, and going live on these sorts of things because it does connect everybody like in that way. Like, I mean, you
Mhm.
never know what somebody's going through, what kind of struggles people have, and it's like you say, like going back to sort of when you're having like a bad day and you see like a rando come into your stream and just sort of be nice like
Mhm.
that. It's like a nice little reminder as to like why you do this, and like it's a good way to see like the good in humankind as well. Because like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
it's a it's a shitty place out there at times, like and like being able to see that is just like it's so wholesome and refreshing. Just seeing the positive impact that these things can have on people.
Well, on top of that, I mean, streaming is very, very, very big into gathering people of the same interests
Hmm.
in one area.
Yep.
And because I can meet as many people as I want out and about, like I could flag somebody down walking past my house right now. Are they going to share the same interests as I have? Probably
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
But when I'm streaming, and I mean, you see Mario, or you see Kingdom Hearts, or you see whatever I'm streaming, and I'm chatting with you, we're able to find some kind of interest here, and it's able to spark relationships.
Yeah.
And it's it's. I never thought it would develop like this. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at.
No, of
I thought it was
course.
originally I thought it was a way to, hey, I can stream and I can make some money, but it has went from that to I don't even care about money. I more care about the people that's coming and hanging out with me because
Yeah.
that's all I want. I want people to come, have a good time, enjoy themselves, me enjoy myself, and that's how we go about our days.
Yeah, definitely. And like one thing that I've sort of noticed as well, like over the last year, is that a lot of people they will come for the game that you're playing, but they will stay for you. They
Mm-hmm.
will stay for the person. So no matter what it is you're doing, people will be there because it's you, not necessarily what you're playing. And I think that is like kind of, you know,
That hits hard,
that's what yeah,
honestly.
that's what makes it that's what makes a streamer good. That's what makes no that's what no, I tell you that back. That's what makes a streamer great
Mm-hmm.
because for me personally, when it comes to streaming, like I the first sort of streamer I ever saw, like I'm not going to name the person because I don't think it's fair, but like they were a Mario speedrunner and they just sat locked into the game, just sort of the only interaction that they had was when people gifted and they didn't look at chat, they didn't do this. I get like people are just so like like I said, they are really locked into it, and it's like whatever, yeah, okay. But so when you try to be engaging, and you get like their mods, other people just
Mm-hmm.
answering for them, and it's just in such a toxic way. It's just kind of like, yeah, you know what, fuck this person, and then you see somebody who is engaging, and it's like that's like you say, this is what forges relationships, and just how like these like communities grow, and like even like in I'm sure it's the same in your case, like, but even in my case, like, people have actually become real life friends as a result of
Mm-hmm.
just these like little communities and stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just such an amazing thing. Like, I even traveled to go and meet some of them at the start of the year, like, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's the sort of thing, it's like, yeah,
I'm going to a soccer game at the end of this month with a couple people. I
there
mean,
you
just
go.
that I would have never met
Yeah,
aside from
and
this.
like you look back at like a year and kind of think, oh, this is a bit of fun. And look, and then, fast forward to today, and it's just like, holy shit. Look at everything that's happened here as a result. Like, isn't that just so insane?
It's crazy. I could have never even imagined. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly thought what was going to happen with this is I was going to stream. It was going to be 2 or 3 days. I was going to give up. I was going to move on about my day, but it still hasn't stopped. I'm
Uh,
still enjoying it. I'm still
oh,
having fun with it.
and long may it continue. No, honestly. So then let's take streaming out of the equation just for a minute. So outside of that, what is the ideal day off for Sir T? Taking your main hobbies and interests outside of gaming, streaming. What is what is Sir T into? What is Sir T a fan of?
Okay. As far as hobbies, I love the outdoors. I do. I love fishing. I like hunting. I enjoy hiking. Um, as far as not outdoors, uh, I used to like to draw and paint.
Oh, no way.
Am I good at it? No, not at all. But I had fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, you
um,
don't have to. That's the thing. You don't have to be good at these things to enjoy them. It's just a matter of
and the
doing it, and
oddest
it's like an
thing,
outlet, isn't it?
yeah, outlets are outlets. But the oddest hobby that I've always had, and I fully expect everybody to flame me for this, is I love untangling Christmas lights. I don't know what it is.
Oh, do you know what? Someone has to do it, and you're a fucking saint for it. Everybody hates that shit, and fair play, I can imagine it being the most satisfying thing, but do you know what? Okay, right. Okay, so this then. So you say that's a hobby. Are you purposely going
And
out of your way to tangle Christmas lights?
yeah, I go into my box. It's in my storage room right now, and I just kind of scramble
Yeah.
all up like
Anytime T's
for
having a bad
Christmas.
day, he just goes straight into the attic. It's just like, oh, them Christmas lights need a good tangle. Oh my god, that is fantastic. Oh my god, brilliant. Okay, so like
But
that.
aside from that, I mean, I do. I haven't done quite a few things in quite a while. Like I haven't hunted. I haven't fished all this year, or really last year.
Mhm.
Life's just been kind of hectic
Yeah, for
between
sure.
work and everything. But like the wife asked me what I want to do for my birthday, which is coming up in less than a month.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I told her I just want to go fishing for a day. We'll go find somewhere. We'll go until like 4 a.m. and that's all I want to do. Like I don't want no gifts. I don't want a cake. I just want to go fishing.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you know what? That's like the perfect opportunity to sort of like revitalize an old hobby, something that you haven't done in a long time. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just like, what do you want to do? There he goes. I want to do this, and it's like that. I think, I mean, given what you were saying as well earlier about how you got into streaming, and everything that was going on for you, like, how perfect is that? You're out in the open. It's just
Hmm.
you and one of the most important people to you, and just in perfect harmony. Like, that's amazing. Like, what's okay then?
Well,
So,
let me
right,
flip the script on you a little bit.
okay,
All
okay.
right. Um, what was what was the hardest portion of learning content creation for you?
For me, it was probably the consistency.
Oh,
So I started out like, well, okay, so there's consistency, but then it was actually, in terms of the content I was putting out. So I majoritively for me it's Mario clips, and then obviously I
mhm.
had like my little useless but interesting facts series. There's only so much you can do with that, and for me, if I start to think about what is it that I need to do, what do I want to put out, then I can't. I just get complete creative block until something just I see something or something comes to mind. Like I'll give you I'll give you I'll give you one example. I've been incredibly busy with work, so my schedule has been kind of fact at the moment, and I this happened like twice in the space of 5 minutes in one of my last streams, and you get those like people coming in. It's like, oh, sorry to bother you, but I'm gonna try and sell you some shit here, and then these immediately blocked because there's dicks like. So I put up a TikTok the other day because I was just thinking, oh yeah, this would be funny because it's very relevant. And have you ever seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
It's been a while, but
Yeah.
yes.
So do you
That the one
know?
with is Ben Stiller in that?
Yeah, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Tom Cruise plays like the big movie guy, like the head office guy. And there's a part of it where like they've got Ben Stiller held captive, and they're trying to like negotiate for him to get released, and he's just all like, "Go fuck yourself. We don't negotiate with terrorists." That came to me so randomly. I didn't hadn't watched the movie, hadn't seen it, but it came to me randomly. And I was like, "That'll be funny. That'll make a funny video." But yeah, like for me personally, it's struggling on what to kind of put out as content because maybe I'm not varied enough, maybe I don't have enough variety, but sometimes as well the willpower could probably
Oh
be,
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah.
But like it's just kind of sometimes you have all these clips and you think I cannot be bothered putting them into like to format them for TikTok, to for Instagram, whatever it may be. Um yeah, like that would be probably the things that I would struggle with the most. Um but like, I don't know. I do this entirely for fun. This is just sort of. I do want to
Yeah.
stay consistently because I do. I'm trying to grow on TikTok as well because TikTok's going all right. But yeah, consistency is so key, and that's the sort of main
It's
thing I struggle with because it's like it then can be like a massive demotivator if you kind of think, oh shit, I haven't put out something in a while. I'm going to need to put something out, and then you can't think of something, and you don't want to just put out garbage that like no one's gonna give a shit about. You know?
yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that right there is that was what I would say is almost like putting myself into my videos.
Hmm.
So like if you go back to my channel, you'll see clips. I mean, it's just clips. You know, it's saying anything, it's not doing anything. It's just Mario or Fortnite or
Yeah,
whatever. And you fast forward through and you'll see there'd be more me. More of me just kind of holding my phone up like, hey guys, blah 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 blah. Um and at the beginning, I'm like, why would somebody want to watch me? I'm a gaming creator. They want to watch the games.
hmm yeah,
What I've learned is the more I put myself out there and the more I show off who I am in a video, the better people react, the more people watch. Like I'm a genuinely a happy person 90% of the time. I like to joke, I like to have fun, and I'm
yeah,
trying to throw that into content. And that was an extremely hard thing to do for me to not try to keep my brain wants to keep a fake persona,
yeah.
and I don't want that.
Of course, yeah. That's the thing, do you know what? It's appropriate you say that because, like, you know, it's a similar thing to this right now. Like, when you put yourself in front of the camera, and you're talking to the camera, that's like in terms of content, that's as like personal as it goes before you obviously start spilling all your personal details kind of thing. But like, everybody's so used to seeing you like on, TikTok or on Twitch, for example. But the in terms of those videos, like people are seeing you, like you say, holding the camera to your face. This is as like personal as it gets. This is me talking. This isn't me playing a game. This is just, just this is just two friends shooting the shit right now. Like this is just
Hmm.
kind of, and like I think 100% agree with what you're saying. Like that's the sort of thing that like people can almost like connect and relate to that more, especially when you get people who are watching you like consistently and everything like that. It's just kind of like, yeah, I feel like I know this person like a little bit better. Like this is, this is nice. I actually enjoy watching this thing because, like, obviously, because you did your videos of like your day in the life of sort of things, like with
Hmm.
your, with work and everything. Now I know,
Hmm.
obviously, you got a little bit of a talking to about that, I believe.
I did. But you know what? They told me, it's fine. They're like, hey, keep doing what you're doing, but don't let our name be
Mm-hmm.
out there
Of
or the
course.
name of where we're going.
Yeah.
Like for example, I did the Red Stadium. I went and talked to the one of the main guys at the Red Stadium, like, hey, here's my TikTok page, and I showed him. I'm like, I've got this many people that watch me, and I'd like to make a video here. You guys have a lot of cool things here that nobody gets to really see when they come and watch a game.
Yeah.
And he was all about it.
That's amazing.
Um, so it wasn't even about my employer at that time. They're like, yes, we're a baseball stadium and we want you to make a video for us for free.
Yeah, fucking free promo here. Let's go.
Right, right. So I told them that, and they're like, you know what? Fine, as long as you keep on getting permission, you don't show our names out there. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because like I think, I mean, in terms of that, like when it comes to like contracted work like that, I mean, it's gonna have to take like, some real social media detective to be like, oh yes, this company is at this place right now. They're contracted to here, and like
Mhm.
so yeah,
Well, there's a lot of
it's
creeps out there, man.
well,
A
that's
lot of
yeah,
creeps out there.
yeah, that is so true. I think though, it's good to do that, because not only is it like varied content, but it is like a little bit more of an insight into you, like as a person and what you do, what your day to day consists of, and like as far as like your employer is concerned, like they should be kind of like happy for you to do that because one, you're pursuing a hobby, you're pursuing your passion, and then at the same time, like um really like again it's just a funny way in which the world works sometimes, like who knows who could ever reach out to you and be like, oh yes, this, that, and the other, what kind of work are you in, because and then it could be beneficial for both you and your company. You could
Yeah,
get you more work.
exactly.
Like I honestly, like there has been, I mean, you could liken it to people getting sponsorships from like small brands on social media. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
Hmm.
it's just another way of networking. It's just not the most conventional. And I think in terms of that, sometimes people are just a little bit too afraid to put themselves out there.
It's old age versus new age.
Absolutely, absolutely, and
But
not
my
as
defense there was like, you guys can tell that I'm working because I
yeah,
actually have a video of it.
yeah, exactly. It's not like you're slacking. Like you're just literally
Yeah.
you're doing your job. You're just doing it with one less hand.
Right. Well, not even always that. I'll like have it set up on a cabinet or something like
Oh, okay.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
And I'll just
So
have it recording for 3 or 4 hours, and later on, after I get off work, I just start doing it.
hey, that's yeah. It's like you say. It's the old age versus the new age. Like as much as the new age scares me, there's a lot of good things to be said as well.
Hmm.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, last question I want to ask you today, T. What does the future hold for you? Like, in terms of streaming, is there anything specific that you want to achieve with all this? Or are
Billionaire.
you just happy to ride the wave? Are you happy to just ride the wave, see where it takes you? Or do you have like specific goals? Yeah, what's the future look like for Sir T?
I have fairly specific goals, but I also don't. Um, Obviously, why you can't do this kind of thing and not ever think about it and not want to become big. You don't you don't ever think the opposite of you like I won't ever be big. I won't ever make it as this. This
Hmm.
can never be my full-time job, you know.
Yeah.
None of us streamers go into this looking at that. But what I will say is like I'm never going to be one of those people that beg for money.
Hmm.
I'm streaming out of a hobby. I am
Yeah.
never going to go down to that level of, hey, guys, I know you guys came here for entertainment, but give me all your money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very big to me to not be like that. I will gladly accept things if people are out there and they're like, hey, I want to support you. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Of course.
And that's the people I want to surround myself with. If I ever get to a point where I'm able to make it big, I'm not going to be that person who begged my way to get up there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not gonna have your family members on stream telling people to gift galaxies and shit like that. Like yeah, that can be quite low. You know.
Um, but what I would really like is a set of sponsorships. That's I think that's the end goal. I would rather take money from a company
Yeah.
and get big than Mr. Andy Games that came out to support his buddy streaming. You know.
Oh, of course, I get it. That's a yeah, that's nice. That's a nice sort of like it's a nice moral to have, like because the thing is, like it's very much like a win-win situation. You get paid to promote a product. You only have sort of X amount of responsibility for that, for however long they're willing to sort of keep that going. That yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there are people who do beg. They beg. Then
It's
it's
most
just
of TikTok. Like
yeah.
there's so many streams, especially if you go into the bigger streams.
Oh man,
They'll
the
be like,
bigger
I have
streams are
400 galaxies as my goal. I'm not moving forward until you guys reach that goal. Like, why would I ever want to stick around in a stream and watch that? Like, I'm not having a good time.
yeah.
So why?
It's
And
so fucked, isn't it? Like it's just I
yeah.
get that like it is some people's bread and butter for sure. A lot of people make a lot of money from this, and it is their full-time gig. But
Mhm.
there is a sort of like a gracious way to go about it. There's a way to go about it with a bit more dignity,
Mhm.
and like it's just kind of like I genuinely like believe a lot about these bigger streamers and stuff is that they don't believe in what they're doing. They just are doing it for the money.
Are
They don't really care for what the game
mhm.
is. They're just doing it because either they've been paid to or because the people who pay them, they're like viewers, that's what gets them, that's what empties their wallets into.
Oh, this is a popular game and I'm gonna make so much money playing it.
Hmm.
Like that's not what it should be.
No,
It
absolutely
should
not.
be this looks like a fun game. I'm gonna play it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It bugs me.
No, I
But
100%
that's
get
all
that, man.
TikTok. It's
Yeah.
it's all social media revolved around how TikTok makes money. And that's I mean, they marketed it like that. They designed it like that, you know?
Yeah, that's it. And I think as well, obviously, because like TikTok, especially since they have like, TikTok Live Studio, it's only growing. And like with TikTok Live Studio, it's like there's a little bit more leniency in terms of like who can get it. Like I was able to get TikTok Live Studio with like 500 followers just because I am an existing creator on Twitch. So
Mhm.
they were just like, okay, fire us over the proof that you are on Twitch and we'll give you access. And within 24 hours, I had it. And it's just like you can scroll through all the lives of the day and like you will see people with like 3 or 4 thousand viewers, and it's all money, money, money with them, like and
Mhm.
I get it, like I say, it's their bread and butter, but it's just like it's like they've kind of like lost all their dignity in the meantime, you know.
Yep.
um and I think it's worse when you see people who have like 5 viewers who are just constantly just
Oh
like
yeah.
begging for it. It's just kind of like, well, you're not in a position to do that. Get a fucking job.
My biggest um biggest goal to get out of this, and this is, way down the line,
Hmm.
is I would love to stay on TikTok where I'm at, stream, have my good time, but on the sideline have YouTube.
Yeah.
I would like the YouTube to pay my all of my bills and make me rich. That's what I want.
I mean, yeah.
Because I mean, like, YouTube has a lot of potential there. I mean, if you can get big and whatnot. I've done research. I don't know how accurate the research is. I'm sure somebody like Logan or somebody even bigger can tell me further than that. But what I've seen is, like, once you get to a certain point, it's like $30 per every 1,000 views on a
Oh
video, or
wow.
something like that, like something outrageous.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly how big you actually have to be, millions of followers or what it is, But that's the goal.
That's no. Do you know what? That's a good goal to have. It's a nice like humble goal to have, I think, because you know you're not giving up everything to do this.
Hmm.
You obviously have your priorities like in check, and that's just like it's one of them things. That's a goal, but say for instance, if it doesn't work out, what changes in your life? You're
I
still
enjoyed every second of it
yeah,
getting
you're
there.
you're still
So
you're still going to work every day. You're still providing for your family. The only thing changes is just that well, nothing. You're still doing what you're doing. Like, and
right.
you'll still have your streaming. You just yeah. Like, and YouTube is an interesting one as well. Because like I don't know how much it's changed in recent years, but whenever I was like 17, 18, I used to put out music videos on YouTube. So like I would have like
Cool.
played
Interesting.
guitar on YouTube, and I was able to monetize the videos. Now I made fuck all from it. I didn't make anything from it, but it was so simple to literally just apply for monetization, and that was it. It was fine. Your videos
It's
were
definitely changed from there.
oh yeah, yeah,
So
100%.
yeah.
Especially since like they've got YouTube Shorts and stuff, and it's like X number of subscribers, all this kind of carry
Hmm.
on. Like it's yeah, and I think the difference with back then, you're talking like 12 to 13 years ago. Like YouTubers weren't a thing. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
was just the
Hmm.
sort of people did make money from it, but it was like kind of like anybody could have really done it at that point if they just were consistent
Well, then
enough.
you have that odd surge, which is, I believe, why they changed all that. Is people were making videos like about their kids or for their kids,
Hmm.
and they were monetizing those videos. So, like, just for like a rough example, like Mrs. Rachel, they
Mm.
would make videos kind of like Mrs. Rachel, and people would just show their kids, and it'd just be on repeat all
Oh,
day,
I
and these people were
see.
making all kinds of money on it. So they
Mm.
changed the way it operated there to where if it has anything revolving kids, you can't make any money off of it, and they release the higher standards along with that.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. I definitely think though, like YouTube's a good way to go these days because, like, obviously they had to change up a lot with the surgeons of TikTok and
Mhm.
with Twitch, like the content creation, Instagram as well. I mean, obviously Instagram, it's like you can have your business accounts and stuff, but then that comes with like sponsorship and stuff like that. It's like, but people were making less and less content on YouTube, or YouTube was supplementing the content that they were prioritizing with Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. You know, do yeah, I think their YouTube has certainly become like a little bit of a gap. It's just have to find the
Mhm.
right thing to sort of fill it with.
And they're working on it. I mean, YouTube's definitely come a long way since, like, TikTok blew up.
Mm,
And for example, the YouTube Shorts,
yeah,
they might not have an algorithm like TikTok does, but I kind of dig their algorithm a little bit more because I've done some experiments, and in recent months, most of my videos have been experiments that I've been placing on TikTok and on YouTube,
yeah.
and I want to see what kind of content blows up on different platforms. And there is a very big difference. So, like, for example, one of my oh, what's it called? It's the Rick and Morty game. Uh,
Oh, Trover.
no,
No,
it's the Talking Guns. Rick and
not too
Morty
sure.
developers from the sounds. Right, High on Life.
Ah,
Um, So one of my high on life videos. Um, it was I can't remember exactly which one it is, but I placed it on both TikTok and YouTube at the same exact time,
Hmm.
and to the point where I had two windows open on my computer on one on separate screens, and I just click click. You know, YouTube almost 3,000 views. TikTok not even 200
No way.
within a 24-hour period.
That's
So
insane.
like, but there's been other videos that is the exact opposite. So like any of my Mario content gets more views on TikTok than it
Hmm.
does YouTube. I'm sitting at like 2 views on one of my recent Mario videos on YouTube, which is absolutely baffling to me. But eventually I'm gonna find the little niche there on okay, this one's gonna go to YouTube, this one's gonna go to TikTok, this one's gonna go to Twitch, you know.
Yeah, it's almost as if, like, with TikTok, it's like, once you find your base level of content, stick to that. And then with YouTube, it's like, we like variety. We will post
We
anything
like
you
all of
want. We like all the variety. Post that.
it.
The algorithms are such a strange thing how they work. Like, I've never been able, I don't think anybody can really piece it together. I think it's like people can like notice trends with it, but I don't, I think it's just random. I think there are so many things about it that are just randomized, and it's like there's no true way to really like understand it, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's so changing. Like
Yeah.
they change it so frequently, so people can't abuse it, and that's almost hurting it. Because as soon as you start figuring out how to make videos and how to construct the videos for it to the AI version of the algorithm to detect all these different
Mm.
things, because humans don't actually divert stuff. When you finally start figuring it out, somebody's like, no, they
Yeah.
figured it out. We gotta change it all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a strange world we live in terms of that. Like, it's there's no like right or wrong answer in terms of what you put out, because you do see some absolute drivel being put out that just gets millions of views and makes people a lot of money, and then the things that people work hard on, they
Mm-hmm.
gets absolutely
Flop.
just lost in the ether.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Oh, but now you can pay TikTok to forcibly push it out in the algorithm. Don't forget that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. If you find, yeah, all those adverts, it's like, oh, you find yourself stuck in 200 to 300 view jail. It's like, fuck
No,
off.
I'm not gonna lie. I've tried it.
Yeah.
I've tried
Oh,
it.
yeah. I
But
have done it for one or two videos as well.
yeah, but
Doesn't do shit.
gonna say what you start noticing is it's no different than going on one of those weird sketchy sites like SM Flare and you buy followers and they're all bots. Like it's no different than that.
No, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you find yourself getting like a surge of likes and stuff, and how many of them are really legit? I don't think
Mhm.
you ever really will know.
As far as that's concerned, the only way I want to use that function is like say you're live. I can promote your live with like $5 or $10 and
Hmm.
it forcibly pushes it into the algorithm further.
Oh yes, I've seen that before in lives as well. Like I've had someone do that before. Like they go in and it's like X number of coins or something, and
Hmm.
basically all of a sudden you find yourself with like 100 viewers, and you're like, holy shit, how did this happen? What do I
Hmm.
do? No, I admit
I went
it's
through
short lived like sometimes, but it's still nice.
I went through right before you started streaming on TikTok and I hit I think every TikTok streamer that I watch and promoted their live. Just experimenting with it, seeing okay, does $1 work? Does $10 work? Does
Hmm.
$30 work? How is this helpful to someone? And I think I promoted Louis one day, and he had 3 people in his live, and he went up to like 75 for like the
Hmm.
duration of like 2.5 hours.
That's brilliant.
It was baffling, and
Hmm.
I sent like $20. So I'm like the equivalent of 2 galaxies. I could actually help him more
Yeah.
by promoting his live and getting him more community.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
That's
what
what
goes a
people don't
long
think.
way. Yeah, that I think goes like it goes such a long way, because that's like a more long-term thing, isn't it? Like, I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
you give somebody a galaxy, great. They get X amount from it. Could be gone in 2 seconds, but you give somebody like, you expose like a creator to somebody new, that could be what they're looking for. Like, it could be like, they could find their new favorite streamer kind of thing out of that. And then there's like there is that longevity potentially out of all new followers, part of a community they can tell their friends, and it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah. So I started doing that more frequently. Like if I have some spare coins that is just sitting there and I want somebody PBs or something like that, I'll
Hmm.
send something.
Yeah.
But when I'm really wanting to gift somebody, I'm gonna promote their live because it's a butterfly effect, man. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I send you one person, that one person sends it to three people,
Yeah.
those three people send it to three people,
Absolutely, because you don't know who, like, obviously, like, you will know the majority of people in your lives at any given moment because the majority of them are going to be followers, right? Or
Mhm.
people who are more consistent. But then, you see, you don't know who all of these people know, like, and then that's what how, like, sharing it and promoting it is just such a powerful thing, such a powerful tool.
Mhm.
You know? T, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on behind the camera.
Had a good
Do
time.
you have any final words you'd like to say for our viewers and listeners today?
Uh, nah, I haven't talked to him all stream.
Yeah, it's like you talk to these guys enough.
No, I appreciate everybody. I truly do, and I try to spend as much time as I can with your community as well, and I appreciate all of them as well because everybody that comes and participates in anything any of us are doing is just it's huge. I mean, we can circle back around and re-talk about all that stuff again if we want, but
No, I appreciate that, T. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on. So, everybody listening, you can find Sir T on Twitch at SLR_T and on TikTok at Sir T. You can see if you're watching this on Spotify or on Twitch, you'll be able to see down below. And as always, I'm AndyGames_94. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back in a fortnight's time with a new guest. So stay tuned, and all will be revealed. Until then, appreciate you guys. Take it easy, and we will see you again soon.
see you guys.